Hello there. It's Mike.
And Katie. And this week, it is episode 95. Mike, what are we talking about?
Thunder! 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 Thundercats HO! And The Boys. On this week, a cup of red.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going? A little later in the week.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We took a Labor Day. Look at that.
Surprise.
I took a vacation.
We did. We took a bit of a vacation.
That was wonderful.
Into the unknown.
Of the local forest. We went camping.
Super local forest, yeah.
I know. It was awesome. I mean, I was literally 15 minutes away from the house, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was nice.
So
your anxiety over missing the cats.
I was my babies.
Your babies? My babies. And how did they look at you when you came home?
And so here I was expecting like clawing at the door, Mom, oh my God, where are you? I open the door and they're not there. Climb upstairs. And they're just laying in their respective like beds that they love, and they just look at me like, oh,
what's up?
You're home.
You.
Okay. It was just like nothing. I get a better reaction when I come home from work every night. And that was quite interesting. You could tell because I had put so much of the dry food down for them that they were totally fine. And I put their wet food down. They were like, no, I'm fine right now.
It's like you gave them a bag of chips and then you were like...
And then like eat your vegetables.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
so...
Like, so I was a lot more calm after that. I was like, okay, they're okay. Because the house wasn't in ruins. There was no problem. I mean, they wanted to see me. Of course, you could tell that it was like, wait a second, you're leaving again already. But there's been no like hangover grudge from them from it. So we're okay.
We're close enough that you were able to go down each night there to be able to give them some extra food and check on things and water. And
it helped my anxiety with that, right? But,
do a beer run.
That was the most important. Right. More firewood.
Yeah.
And refreshments.
Yeah, because I burn a lot of wood.
He does.
But I have epic fires.
Yeah. Well, it was also cold.
It was a lot colder.
And kiddo was freezing to death. So, so there was part of that too.
But yeah, I'm getting used to this outdoorsy thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to like go into the woods now.
Yeah.
Become Sasquatch.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. I can fling poop.
I could easily have done at least one more night, if not a couple.
Like 12.
That would be, super fun. We could max it out at 14 days. So let's do that.
That'd be awesome.
That would be super fun. And it would be super easy to do here for us because we have the access to being able to refill on things. And we aren't so backcountry or anything that we'd have to have 14 days of supplies, if something happened. The biggest problem with that is the change in weather that could happen.
Yeah.
And we'd have to deal with more of that. But it was super nice and relaxing. As much as it was a little chillier, it was nice not to be so freaking hot. So that was a bonus because that's never fun either. But either way, it was just really nice. I myself stepped back from my phone completely, which is something I have not done and I don't even remember when. Maybe when we would have gone to Disneyland at one point, I would have stepped back more. Yeah,
you would used to.
But I stepped away completely from work for 6 full days, which was fan-freaking-tastic. And really was a nice refresh. I needed that, so.
I burnt myself.
You did. You put your arm right on the fire pit.
Yeah, it's going away, though. So.
I burnt myself by having an ember land on my leg. That was fun.
You steal my thunder.
Yours was so much more epic.
It was one of those ones where I was like, I thought it was because it popped at the same time, and then all of a sudden it was like, wow, that kind of hurts. Ran some water on it.
He was kind of jumping around. He's like, wow, but this is not going away. This hurts.
Yeah, and then in the morning I got up and went down to the bathroom because there's actual running water bathrooms at this campsite. And I'm like washing my hands and all that, and I look down and I see this giant red welt on my arm. I was like, oh, apparently I touched the grate. So...
Right on.
Scars are cool, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I got it fighting a Jabberwocky in the wilderness.
Jabberwocky?
That's what I'm going to tell people.
I like it. I think that's interesting. Okay.
Or maybe I was fighting Lion-O.
Because that was our other obsession for the week?
That's right. Because as you heard last week, Katie had scored us the DVD set to Thundercats. And when we came home from camping, it was still cool enough, and we dove into watching Thundercats instead of watching Mulan.
Yes.
Or any other movies.
Well, because we gave options to Kiddo, and he was like, Thundercats.
Thundercats. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
It's the only thing.
That's he lives and breathes that right now.
Yeah. He sits there and he sings it.
It is so adorable. Like, awesome and amazing. And
What made you feel happy you bought it?
yeah, it's a... Let's see... I'm going to be positive. I assume it's going to last because it's been a long time since I've seen him so excited about something. But as soon as it starts, Thundercats. And then he loves singing the theme song. Like, he full on knows every single lyric, and he sings the whole thing. And
Thundercats are on the move.
Yeah.
Thundercats are loose.
Feel the magic.
Hear the roar. Thundercats are... Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Just in case you forgot what the theme song was, we caught you up on that one.
Right? Yeah.
You're like, what was that again? Yes.
What was I thinking? Oh.
Because you only hear it every single episode.
Yeah. Because with not being on a streaming service, you can't skip it.
Exactly.
Well, you could fast forward it, but what's the
that's
point?
Boring. And I think Kiddo might have some issues with that. He's
got the same feeling as he does when you watch like Sentai and Power Rangers.
Well, because of Sentai, we would sing the theme song for them.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Like, that was part of the routine, was singing the theme song as well. And he loved those ones. And so that was really fun. You can tell that he really cares about it then, right? And oh my God, I can't even express how much I love this cartoon.
So if you don't know what Thundercats is, before Katie gushes all over it, Thundercats is basically the idea that where there is a planet, Thundera, that is going to explode. And so the Thundercats are the race on this planet, and they're being attacked by the mutants from Thundar. So they're humanoid cat people. Basically, they look like they're human with, like, they're colored like cats.
Yeah.
The main team doesn't really look like cats.
No.
I always find whenever I see like the fan drawings where they look more like cats, it's a little offsetting. They actually give them like cat noses and stuff like that. Not a big fan of that. I like more like the humanoid.
Right? Exactly.
But so what happens is you find out that Jaga has his
who looks like a complete human.
He's a cougar. He has to be a cougar or a mountain lion, depending on where you are in the world.
That would make sense.
Cougar.
It's a mountain lion. It's it would totally make sense though.
You know what? Cougars were cool until cougar, became something else.
You know what? It's so funny that same cat has two different names, but I always never learned anything different than mountain lion. I remember when I first heard cougar, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
We're not talking about an older lady hitting a younger
I had never heard of that before either. But yeah, anyways, mountain lion. So he's a mountain lion.
So yes,
he's just a man. He just looks like my grandpa.
He is Borat. Because it's nice with his green onesie.
Oh my god.
And he's all like, "Hey, everybody."
That's fabulous.
But no, so he's like the Lord of the Thunder. He's not the Lord of the Thundercats. No. He's like the holder of the Sword of Omens. He's like Merlin
teacher. Yeah,
right. And there's Panthro and Tagra and
because at first I thought he was his dad, and then and you learn otherwise. So you have they're all on this ship, and they so you find because they're the nobles, the Thundera nobles.
So they're like ready to like they're trying to find a new home, and they get attacked by the mutants, and they get shot up, and they gotta we gotta do this quickly. So we're gonna hop in our little like stasis chambers, right?
And Jaga's like, I'll be the brave one. And I'll stay guide the ship while you guys sleep in your stasis chambers because someone has to be there and I'll get old. And they're all like, but you'll die. That's what I have to do.
I will die anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so epic and like, it is. It's very Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It is very much.
Right. And so he tells, Lino, who's a child at this point, he's like,
that was weird.
You will have the Sword of Omens, and you will train to become the Lord of the Thundercats.
He doesn't quite sound like that.
The Lord of the Thundercats. I've had a little too much mum run there.
Yeah.
But that
was really weird when I turned that on. I was like, what? Why is Lino a child?
Right.
I was super confused. And then they said they would travel. I was like, stasis chamber. oh yeah, he's gonna suddenly get older and no one else is. Right on.
Well, that was one of those things where it's like they should have done something where like maybe the damage of the thing caused like.
I mean, it just goes to show then that they're that old. Like it's like things that live for a really long time tend to like grow up quickly and then just stop,
like Chewbacca
aging. So I'm assuming the Thundercats grow up quickly and then just stop aging.
Yeah,
but then doesn't explain why the kitten cat. But we won't get into that
because we realize that maybe they're not children. Maybe they're actually like a subspecies, like a house cat, domestic cat subspecies, where they're smaller in general because they talk even older
than Lino
when he's a child, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So we want to talk about the fact that they're all naked?
Yeah, because that was also a little offsetting at first. I was like, what the? I thought they all had costumes on. I like that their excuse for why they had to put costumes on, which I think was pretty cool that they actually wrote that into the story at the same time, was that they're having to go to someplace else and they'd have to basically blend in and protect themselves, which... You know, I don't know how much those things are really protecting them, but whatever. But I like that he just throws magic ribbons at them and they have outfits.
Yeah, it was like starry, mystical
it was
cloth.
It was magic outfits.
Like, how amazing would that be? I like that
they actually sleep naked, by the way. I think that's really funny. That they actually show them and they don't have their costumes on. Yeah. So it's like they're like, oh, thank God I got to take these weird ribbons off.
Can you imagine there's that cut scene where like they're like doing all their cat stretches and all that, and they're like after
I want to see behind the scenes of Thundercats.
The extra
reality world Thundercats.
Chitara just got her like around her neck.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. Anyways. So they're going to stasis chambers. They have clothing now.
Yeah. And they and for some reason they've got they give Panther that like bondage outfit with like the giant spikes.
His outfit is boss. Like spikes that shoot out of him, and they're also cords and they're chains and they're like because they changed whatever he wants. Did you see that cage thing that popped over his face? Yeah. Like they're magical.
Right? And then he's got his nunchucks that also shoot out the beads. Yeah. And he's got his ninja boots. And he's always got the suave music. And he's super strong.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, he's the man. Like, he's like the Samuel L. Jackson of the Thundercats universe.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's who should play him in a live action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Jackson. It basically would just be a version of Shaft.
That's awesome. So I never understood because, my first, of course, introduction of Jaga was from Thundercats Roar. And I was like, this guy is kind of useless. So now watching Thundercats, and I see how much more important he is, though.
Yeah.
And it's like the figure itself from Super 7 is not that awesome, but at the same time, it feels sacrilegious not to have him, by the way. So I was like looking at it today. Like, is there anything else I need to order? Jaga makes sense over Cracker.
Oh, I don't want Cracker.
I know. So I'm looking and I'm like, okay, so what else can I order? Jaga makes sense.
Groon and Jaga.
Okay, so.
Right? Then you can have them battling, right? Because they are ancient enemies within this series.
So if I buy Jaga, I have to buy Groon then, huh?
Exactly.
I have moral obligation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So that's settled.
Yeah, right. You heard it here, folks. Speaking of which, we're very close to having our Thundercat shipping. I'm hoping by the end of the month they will be cross-border for,
So Mike can begin his looking out the window.
Yeah.
Desperately.
Yeah, the sad gifts. Every day I'll send her those and just be like...
If it's getting close to actually being delivered, he's not going to leave the house. Be like, no.
I'm like a chihuahua at the door.
Yeah.
The day it's out for delivery.
I'll go wait by the mailbox. Hello, I live there.
Gimme. Like Pennywise.
Right? So.
Anyway. So they land on Third Earth. So.
Which is confusing.
Well, what's interesting is like when you read it, like the fan fiction wise and all that idea, or like theory wise, is that that the idea of Third Earth is actually like its third cycle.
Well, they said it in the cartoon too.
Yeah.
It was the third reincarnation of Earth.
Yeah. So it's supposedly our Earth, but that far in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I thought was interesting because then there's some things that kind of fall through, but there's no humans, no bearing whatsoever on what our world is like now.
Right. Because the only humans, I guess, are Willa and her tribe. Right. Like the Mighty Maidens.
The Amazons, you mean?
Yeah. So here's an interesting thing. The show is pretty much done with like 9 voice actors for the first season.
Yeah.
And the second season, they add like 2 more.
Well, it's super fun because they're like, that sounds like that person. Oh, they have. Right? Oh, I can hear that right now.
Right. And what sucks is because when it comes to all the female characters, they all sound the same. Mm-hmm. And it's just a matter of the tone and the speed. So like the maiden warrior, ladies in the trees.
So freaking horrible. There is no other way to sugarcoat that.
What are you doing, Lion-O?
Oh God, yeah. So yeah, seriously, the women voice acting on the woman. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna pretending like it's multiple people.
Yeah, it's only till the second season when Pumara shows up is when they added the second.
That voice acting is god awful.
Right. And she's not bad when she does when
she
Wily
speaks
Kit.
in a normal tone.
But it's all the other characters, or like Mandora. Oh. Mandora, which is basically Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because you look at it, you're like, what?
Because Captain Marvel, her current modern look, came out after decades after almost of what Mandora, right? It has to be whoever designed that new costume with the
Mandora
mohawk.
Is not my favorite character. Like, she is very incompetent at her job, and she talks irritatingly.
We must go into the prison planet, Lion-O.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because it's hilarious.
So, Third Earth.
They come to Third Earth and they fight the mutants when they get to meet the main core mutants, which are also species.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because it's interesting. Yeah, they all have like, because there's Slythe. There is Monkian and Jackalman, and yet there are a whole bunch of Slythes.
But those ones actually look different, though.
Yeah,
they don't have the headgear, and they're thinner, right? And they're not as like.
So he's like a general, or
but like Jackalman and Monkian, they look the same, right?
Yeah,
they're literally like the same. You couldn't tell it. Yeah, which is a weird thing, right? Mm-hmm. But. So yeah, you have got those core guys, and then they shack up with Mum-Ra.
I love the Ra. Like I love that is so pronounced. Because I love that in Roar, Lion-O when he first meets Mum-Ra, he just keeps saying the name incorrectly, and so he doesn't get zapped by the lightning. Yeah, and so his name is just blurred together, right? And so.
Mum-Ra? No, it's Mum-Ra.
And so with this, I thought it was just so funny that his name was so drawn out with the Ra, which being a geek for old mythology stuff made me all excited because it was just sounded so much more with that more the Egyptian idea, right? With the Ra really standing out. Rather than the mummy part of it, right?
He's really scary, though.
He is evil and terrifying.
He's just pure evil, and it's hilarious because he has one weakness, his reflection. Mm-hmm. Or if he's out of his tomb too long.
Yeah. Which is,
he's like a battery. He's like a really bad rechargeable battery.
But we don't know. It just randomly, he hides it really well because it's like, oh, by the way, I have to just go back in here. Or like, I've been defeated. Oh, I'm going to slink back in there. But yeah, he is, he's evil.
But he's just mean. Like he's that typical evil villain conqueror which is awesome. He's just right? it's like he sits there and he laughs at the mutants like, your technology has nothing on my power, Mum-Ra. Right? And they're like, we got technology, we're gonna blast these fools. And he's like, you will fail like you have before, because I am Mum-Ra. Right? And he always needs to make sure they know that he is Mum-Ra.
Yeah.
at every moment. Like
all the time.
You wouldn't forget. Out of all the characters, it's Mumra, right?
Yeah.
But yet he has to call on all these evil spirits to get his power.
Yeah, everyone else has to do his bidding, right?
Right.
And it's just, he's like that true psychopath because he claims that he is the best at everything and he will always succeed repeatedly, even though he repeatedly fails.
Right.
Like he's only maybe twice been close to success.
Yeah.
And but he's a good villain because you don't feel bad about it.
No, I have no sympathy for Mumra.
I have no sympathy, and that's what it should be.
Yeah.
You should only care about the heroes, and even the mutants, sometimes you have a little bit of sympathy for because they get totally used by Mumra.
Yeah.
But even them, they're
still jerkwads.
They're still jerks. So it's like you really don't care. So you only want figures of them so that the heroes can beat up on them.
Right.
It's not like
it's like that perfect toy marketing too. You're like, yeah, exactly. There's no gray area where you're like, if your kid was like, you know what, I don't really. Those cats don't do it for me. I totally understand Mumra's plea. Like, what is wrong with you? Same with like Monkey or Jackalman. You're like,
okay, we got some red flags here.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's a better place to be rather than this weird gray area that some of the newer cartoons are, where you're like, you don't quite know if there should be a red flag or not. You're like, yeah, it's totally okay to be part of that, like the villain type thing.
Right? Because the villains are cool, right? Now the villains are cool. Before it's like the villains are cool to get their butts kicked.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see, right?
Yeah. So I like that.
So Lion-O is literally just a giant man-child too, right?
Oh, very much so.
Because he never got the experience. He just grew up.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's still what looks kind of like a 10 to 12-year-old in a, 20-year-old's body idea. And that would really mess us up.
Especially when Chara's giving you the eyes once in a while.
It's like, she's pretty. I was like, oh, well, that got weird. Well, she's weirdly flirtatious at times.
With Tigra, Lion-O, and then who was the other one she got all
the most recent one was Wizra. The man in the mirror that can watch her. She
the first fans only.
Yeah, there you go. They got like really close, and he was just like super excited about how beautiful she was, and she just was like right up there, and I was like, wow, this is weird. Like,
and she writhes in pain.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
So you have child. He's learning all his powers. Mm-hmm. He's learning that he's got the giant sword of omens.
No, it is a dagger.
Dagger, and then he says his thunder, Thundercats HO, and everyone's eyes glow and their belts glow, and they all heed the call.
Laser kitties.
Giant laser pointer in the sky.
We have decided we want a Thundercats logo laser pointer to play with our cats.
That would be amazing.
Because why has that not been created yet?
Right?
Oh my goodness.
So the sword can give him sight, which allows him to see what's happening for other Thundercats.
Sight beyond sight.
Yes, sight beyond sight.
Sometimes it tells them a scene, sometimes it just shows them whatever the heck they want.
Whatever they need for the time
being. Past, future,
right?
Whatever.
It also warns them if a Thundercat's in trouble.
Yes.
Which I have a question, though, is if it tells you when a Thundercat's in trouble, can you imagine what that thing was like on Thundra? Every time a Thundercat was in trouble on Thundra?
Yeah,
like that thing which would have been just like a vibrator. Like,
yeah.
No wonder Jogga had a one piece on to keep it in control. Because he's got this sword that's just buzzing all the time.
Yeah, maybe it was like, okay, well, you know what? It is not too important right now.
Right.
There's not much we can do, so whatever.
So it tells him when there's trouble. And so he's learning that, and it grows, and sometimes it shoots lasers, sometimes it shoots lightning.
I like his shield, the swirly shield that it makes.
Yeah. And sometimes you can make a bridge out of it.
Yes.
So
this
sword is amazeballs.
It looks like its own soul for thing in there, and it just does whatever he needs it to do.
Now the interesting is that
I like that he can make it. It sounds so funny to say this. He can make it grow without calling anyone. Yes,
So
I said that.
So there is the idea, though, watching it, you realize that it is very phallic.
Oh, every single time I think of it.
He just grips onto that thing with 2 hands and it grows.
And it's so much bigger.
And
like,
then
it
he
grows
yells,
a
"Ho."
lot. Yeah. Like, so I can see, I mean...
The homoeroticness of that show?
Yes.
Especially with Lino's abs.
Yeah. And so I can see where more of the very close-minded past parents would have possibly had
Close-minded now?
problems. I know. I'm going to be optimistic and pretend the world isn't as close-minded, but of course they are. But the idea that it could have caused some problems.
Yeah. Well, it did, because there was lots of things. We even saw a video about like the idea that they were like, it was a station that was talking way back when they were like, this show talks about necromancy and
yeah, because somehow talking to the dead spirits of Jaga was then satanic wise,
just like that of Star Wars.
Yeah, and it was like, what? The idea of old...
They're helping. They're not... It's like versus like Mumra. Everything Mumra is doing is evil spirits and it's all like...
They don't focus... Evil. You know what's interesting is we look at the credits and there is a psychological consultant and we're like, what is this?
Yeah, right?
So I looked up his name and he was hired by Rankin Bass to actually ensure that there was a moral point to every episode and to make sure that came across
genuine, and too, right?
Yeah,
versus like He-Man, they were trying to learn from He-Man, because He-Man wouldn't tell you the little thing until the end, and then it would come up at the very like a little tag. Remember in today's episode, when Orko threw that dung, so that was not a good idea. It
was more organically told then, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't so in your face that it was like, I'm just going to forget about that because this is like Sesame Street feel, right? So it was more of the experience of the story, which is how we would live in real life. Mm-hmm. We don't have an experience and then say, oh, by the way, what is the lesson I've learned today?
Yeah. They sometimes recap a little bit, but it doesn't feel... It's more like...
Or it's more like you know what would have really helped if you had actually talked about that.
Yeah.
And it seems more... It comes across better rather than... the lesson we've learned today, children.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting, that they really did care about making sure that there was something important there.
And there is a lesson in every episode. Yeah. And like, I look at that, I'm like, dude, this is a good show for kids because like it talks about being good, talks about communication, watching your curiosity because, you just open something, bad stuff comes out.
Right.
Like,
well, and they're very much a family, and they have a certain level of being able to razzle on each other, but also that feels a little bit more real. Mm-hmm. But they're always there for each other, and they don't sit there and just pick on each other. They're not mean to one another. There's always a loving, caring atmosphere about it. And so you look at that stuff and you're like, why couldn't parents then just focus on the positives of it? They have to find something negative because there's still, even now, decades later, still something so positive. Like, yeah, I'm going to have a kiddo watch all this because I'd rather him learn from this than some of the stuff that had gotten so intently angry.
Yeah.
And there's no...
The cynical nature of it.
Yes, the world is not black and white. But some of that stuff, we can learn the black and white so that the gray area is easier to navigate.
Yeah.
Opposed to learning in a gray area, and then where do you learn where the lines are? Where the lines are, exactly.
Yeah. So. Oh, totally.
My soapbox there for you.
Kitty soapbox. This all starts from swords growing from your hand.
Yeah,
Totally lost my train of thought because now I know.
Okay, so we were talking about all the magical powers of Linus.
Oh yeah. So then he's also got the thing that's called the claw shield, right?
Yes.
And that thing can do whatever it wants as well.
That just clips onto the side of him. Magically, it just sticks to his thigh. I like the little nails that pop out that are super strong. Just one like grappling hook? Fingernails.
Yeah,
claws.
Hook. So there's one thing that's interesting because there was one episode where he allows Snarf to walk across this ravine using the light from the sword. Mm-hmm. And then the chasm breaks and Lino has to swing over by using his grappling hook. And I'm like, dude, you could have just used your grappling hook in the first place and carried Snarf over.
Always choose grappling hook.
Right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But that's part of him learning, I guess.
I guess.
Like, what?
He was so excited to use his sword, and he was like,
just
nope.
Whip that light sword out.
I should have used my finger first.
Oh, goodness. That's fabulous. There's a lesson right there.
Right?
You didn't even realize you needed.
Mm-hmm. Don't just use your sword. Think about your hands first. They could probably get the job done just as good, if not better.
The straight face he's giving me is fantastic, by the way.
You know what? It's
you know what? It is.
As an adult, we can also learn
We
from
can learn
Thundercats
things from
and
it.
realize.
You know, it's
right?
multifaceted. Awesome.
But yeah, so we've watched the first quarter of the series, which because we were watching
one, volume 1.
Yeah. So we're watching it on disc. So we see it's the first volume. So it's the first half of season 1 there.
Like 25 episodes.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
Did you have any favorites like from that at all? That span? Do you remember anything that you really stuck out? Okay, so Roar, while you think. So Roar has an episode with the snowman, and up on Hook Mountain, it's a mountain that literally looks like a hook. And the snowman just wants a friend, and that's what the episode is in Roar. And he's always saying, like, you can't go outside because there's the sparkle maw, right? So we saw there was an episode that has in this section with the snowman, and we're watching it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if the sparkle maw will show up. And Kiddo just hates it when I say sparkle maw.
We don't know why.
It really bothers him. Sparkle maw, right? And so we're watching it. But it was an interesting episode because it was the idea that Lionel had to learn the culture of the snowman and battle him to earn his respect. And that's actually been a theme of about 3 episodes now.
Yeah.
He had the caveman. He had to do it on his own. He had to arm wrestle the caveman for the time capsule.
Yep.
And then the samurai dude. He had to kind of learn.
Yeah, it's not just you're gonna just do whatever I want and I'm just gonna the might for you. It's I'm going to adjust my behavior to fit in to communicate with you. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of interesting that he's like, because many times Snarf will be like, Lion-O, use the sword, call the Thundercats, and
use your head, not your sword.
Right? and Lion-O's all like, no, I must do this on my own.
Yeah,
right. And he's very like altruistic.
Well, he has his moments of real wisdom that he shows.
Yeah, so. And he shows that breaking through of the stuff that he's learning. Yeah, right, and versus being just. Well, that
he, what's nice is he really and even with Roar, as much of an idiot he comes across sometimes, he still has he still has his moments though where he proves that
awesome friend.
That he proves that he deserves to be the leader.
The Lord of the Thundercats.
And so, and in the original one here, it's very, very much that way. He still proves that he is the leader and that he brings them together and he knows when to stand up and to call, sometimes he's a little late calling for help, which is just kind of funny. But overall, he knows when he's always there to help out with people. He always wants to make friends.
He's always trying to
he always wants to just keep
doing good,
expanding their horizons and making good neighbors, right? Yeah. And he's like, well, you need anything. When he makes friends with the snowman, the guy, it's just like, okay, now we help each other. Yeah. And this is, now we have this alliance type thing. And it's not, I'm going to take something from you. It's just now we know we exist.
He's not a colonizer. Exactly. He's not conquering. He is there to coexist in the world that's now his new adopted home. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's very similar to, like, say, Superman, right? That idea where it's like, I'm just here to help. Yeah. I'm not here to take you guys over. Yeah. Right. So the Sword of Omens, it can't be used by evil and it can't be used for evil. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't grow, which I think is interesting. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a good lesson, boys. Don't use your sword for bad.
There you go.
It shouldn't work. But so he in one episode it breaks because he used it to strike. What did he strike?
It was one of the Thundercats, but it was on.
It was when Tagra was under Mumra's control.
Yeah, so he was.
Mumra.
So he was not. It struck a Thundercat, but he was trying to break the evil that was.
He was in defense. He was in defense.
Yeah, so he was. It wasn't intent. Like he was not trying to commit evil.
But the sword actually breaks, and the only way to reforge it is to go into like this volcano.
Yeah, that was insanity.
With a star, dying dwarf stars, like
with this like crazy volcanic fireman who like set off this chain reaction and horribleness,
right? Which I thought was interesting because they go ahead and they help this dude get all his power back, and then he just turns into a dick,
right? I was super surprised by that. I was like, wow, this is not making people want to help out,
right? Like it was like, but they still like figured it out. I love too when their Thundrillium, their power source, their kryptonite, they're not their kryptonite, their power source, crash lands on Earth, and
that's the stuff that's from Thundera.
Yeah, so they have to like they have got it, and Panther's all like, "What's with all this junk all over top of it? This gold, it's malleable and it's soft.
I'm just gonna throw this junk away."
Yeah, there's all this junk is gonna get thrown into the bottomless pit.
And Shatara's like, no. This is shiny. I'm gonna wrap this around my neck and I'm gonna hoard it.
Yeah, so they go ahead and this guy's like is like,
way to stereotype women there.
Well,
shiny.
He's like, gold is the only power I have, and he's like, I just threw all that stuff into the chasm there in the bottomless pit. Like it's just junk. What can you use gold for? And like, I must bathe in gold.
Right.
And Chitara's like my necklace. I saved some. Let's go back to the lair. And they come back with like the entire thunder tank is full of gold, like more gold than like it's the size of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just the little bit that she saved. That's intense. So
she's a true woman,
right? All that glitters is gold. I love the gold. But I'm having a lot of fun watching this.
Yeah.
I'm some episodes I'm remembering bits and pieces from my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yet again, there's a lot of it that is showing too, where I had more memories with those few toys I had, because some of the stuff I'm like, this is new to me. Like,
that pirate episode.
Which pirate episode?
Well,
there's been multiple.
Hammerhand, where they actually threw him into the abyss.
Okay, the Thundercats done. They killed some people's.
Like this got dark,
like quick too.
Yeah,
without even talking about it until later on in the series,
and it wasn't even actually acknowledged. Yeah, though, which I thought that was funny.
So they go, these pirates. Hammerhand is stealing unicorns.
Yeah,
and Lino goes off and fights them, and then Panthers comes in with this like. The thunder tank blows up their ship, creates a whirlpool, blows up their ship, and they disappear in the water.
And I'm like, did they just kill all those pirates? And they don't even talk.
They don't talk about it.
They're just
and
like,
then later on, Mumra clones Panthro and summons the spirit of Hammerhand, and that was our moment. We were like, damn, they done killed those pirates.
Yeah, the spirit was trapped under the water too. So he's like stuck to the ship.
Yeah,
because he would have been probably anchored to the ship then, which has been on the ground on the sea floor. Yeah. Right. So they actually did kill pirates.
That was pretty intense because they'd been pretty like they never kill any of the mutants. The mutants do some terrible stuff to them. They're just like, stupid mutants, get out of here. Right. But
yeah.
No, it's a good show. The animation's still holding up. There's a lot of fluidity. There's only a few errors, really, when it comes to coloring.
Tiger's nose.
Yeah, and even Lionel's face changes once in a while.
My favorite one with Tiger's nose was when you were looking straight at him and his nose was orange and he turned to a profile and all of a sudden the color disappeared off his nose. And you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
It was really obvious.
I am actually enjoying Tigra more than I ever remember enjoying him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just age, right? But like he's got his big bolo whip and he's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you know that he can only swim when he's invisible? That's what we found out.
Yeah, because they list off all their strengths and weaknesses.
In Safari Joe does it again.
Every single time he said that, we were just laughing. But yeah, so his weakness was he can only swim. He can swim when invisible.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he can't swim otherwise.
Doesn't make any.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
So, because Safari Joe does it again.
So that, speaking of like the evil aspect of some of these villains here, the fact that the mutants tied Tigra up to this thing that was going to disembody.
The catapults?
Trying to think of what's the word? Dismember. There we go. I was like, something. They were gonna rip him to the four winds. I was like, because they showed a sandbag on there and the catapult, and the sandbag they demonstrated and it ripped everything off, and I was like, holy crap, they were gonna rip him in pieces.
But we'll be nice to you, Tigra, and it'll only happen when the sun hits this jewel.
Yeah, I don't understand how that was nice at all, other than like, we're just gonna give you this chance to escape. Like, that's what I heard. You know? I'm just going to give us our chance for failure.
Right.
By delaying what we are going to do to
you. We literally can push this button and you'd explode now. Like, totally like a painting all over the wall. But we're like, no. We'll wait till dawn.
What about the awesome, like, crab shark thing?
In the Sea of Despair?
Yeah. The the River of Despair.
River of Despair. Not even a lake or a sea.
No, it's a river.
A river.
It reminded me of like the River Leith, Leith from Tartarus.
Well, but yeah.
So it's like it's like the.
But like I'm more or less with the fact that there's a shark with crab legs in a river.
True.
Not in a sea or a lake. Or an ocean.
The size of the animal.
There's a giant shark,
and then you need to have the rainbow light bridge to go across. It was like actually kind of glass looking when it breaks. Yeah,
a whirlpool. It was like Sharknado with crab legs.
Yeah,
but like a monsoony like.
So you want to hear about my ridiculous thing that I got super caught up on being irritated with?
Oh my goodness!
The damn bushy tree spider.
This is hilariously like.
So
frustrating.
Willa has this like all of a sudden she has this random rope that she needs to be able to climb up this thing, and they're like, "What is this?" And it's bush tree spider. His name's Bushy. The spider does not have 8 legs. It has 6 legs, and it looks like a little fuzzball with 6 legs. Therefore, it is an insect. And the boys keep telling me this is Third Earth. Like, this is, they're like, there is talking cats and all sorts of insanity.
But later on, lasers.
Shush. Later on, they show a spider which looks just like a giant version of what we see as a spider. So why is there a spider that looks just like that?
Different species.
And also, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But that other one has the giant pinchers and everything. This one is a happy little tree bush thing.
There was a shark with crab legs.
It is not a spider.
There is a talking bear robot. I am okay with it being an
insect, but it is not a spider. They should not define it as a spider. It should just been Bushy insect.
There's monkey.
Bushy the insect. No.
Nope.
Burbles. Burbles. Robert Burbles.
Robert Bill.
Like it's a very long name. Robert Burbles. I just now clicked the fact that it's robot bear, and then for some reason we add Burbles into there. Huh. But yes, the bushy tree insect, mislabeled, like super caught up.
Like, it really bothers her. Like, really bothered. And she brings it up multiple times. And even Kiddo was like, it's fantasy. It's not real.
I know.
They came from space.
I know. But still, how hard would it have just been to call it a bug?
Then it wouldn't have made sense when it pooped out the rope.
Then why couldn't they just add the damn 8
It cost too much in animation. Literally watched an episode where like half the episode was reuse scenes.
I like the one where he was trying to was it the Safari Joe one where it showed the pictures of them? It was one where Momura was showing like he was informing one of his minions about the Thundercats, and it was just the opening credits. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
I think this is what they're actually doing. So
the opening credits was them. They've reused. There was like those scenes too where they're talking and their mouths aren't moving.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Like I'm going with this like inner monologue, but when they start talking to each other and they're still not moving, I'm like, you guys screwed up. And this isn't like the anime aspect where like they don't move in sync. No, they're like full on like weren't moving their mouths.
So for some reason, didn't catch that, but I caught them missing 2 legs.
And it's your sciencey geek.
That's funny.
There was not enough fiction. There was not enough science in your fiction, apparently.
Yeah, apparently not.
But yeah.
So that's been the Thundercats.
What about the crabmen? Giant crab dudes with pinchers and abs.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's fine.
Because they're humanoid crabs. Not to mention the plug in the bottom of the ocean.
Right? That could just drain the entire ocean.
But those 8 legs.
Missing 2 legs. She was almost like, you know what? I can't watch this anymore. I'm out. She almost threw down. So who's your favorite Thundercat?
You know what? I actually am really liking Lionel.
Yeah. Which is odd because usually you're not like on the main character.
I know, right? And so I was trying to be honest, and I was like, this feels weird to say this, but I like the way the lessons that he has and the way he is really stepping up and his altruistic aspect and all those positive things that he has. I don't know why. I really like it.
You're excited to continue on?
I am, yes.
Yeah, as we make it through our Thundercats watch.
Yeah. What about you?
I do really like Lion-O, and I've always loved Panthro because like he had nunchucks, right?
Because he's the Sam Jackson of Thundercats, so
right?
Of course you like him.
You know what? Sam Jackson should play Panthro, and Hugh Jackman should play Tigra. That's where I am at my fan casting.
Okay.
At the moment, so
I see Sean Connery as Jaga.
Yeah, he's too old though.
I know, but we're gonna pretend like because we're fan casting. This is like James Bond, Sean Connery.
James Bond, Jaga. Hey, so you want to know something fun? The guy that voices Lion-O in the original series voices Lion-O's dad in the 2011 series.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? He voices Jaga in Thundercats Roar.
That's fabulous.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Right? That he's...
What did Kiddo say was his favorite?
Panthro.
That's what I thought. Okay.
He really likes Panthro.
I mean, his suit is awesome. Like he definitely is very multifaceted with his abilities, right?
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, no, I'm surprised at how much I've actually enjoyed Tigra.
Yeah.
Just because he's showing so much prowess to everything, right?
Yeah.
So what did you think of when we started rattling off the cast for the 2011?
It was the why do we not own this?
Right.
Immediately, I was like, all you needed to tell me was who was in it, and I would have been like, okay.
So I'm glad we got this first.
Yeah.
So there you go. Eventually, our future will include.
But honestly, regardless of the cast, I mean, I have every intention to continue watching this because I love Roar and I'm loving this. 26 episodes in, and I'm still like, yes, I want to watch more. So yeah, and my sister and her husband are big Thundercat fans, and she immediately was like, "But you should watch the 2011." So like, I have to watch
there's
it.
More.
I know. So no, it's definitely happened.
The couple episodes that I've seen of it, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
And I know Kiddo was excited about watching that too. So.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see. But yeah, no, we got much more to go, which is really exciting. So bound to be a recap after we get through the next part of the season. Then,
yeah,
because
we can talk about all the other new insanity and how many other non-spiders show up,
and how well he uses his sword.
What other new magical powers is he going to?
How big does it get? Because it gets pretty big.
It's like 3 times the size. It's impressive.
Now when you think of that, now I think of Roar when it turns into like it's the size of the Thunder Lair, Cat's Lair.
It's so huge.
That just it's engorged. You need saline solution on that one.
Oh God. Oh, that's good stuff. So switching gears here. So
we were watching hockey. And Stanley Cup playoffs were going on, and our team that we were really excited for in the playoffs came back really well. And then the game 7, they shit the bed.
So hockey is over.
So it was really disappointing because the game went so sideways, unfortunately, because...
it was sadness.
they only had one goal led on them, and then they pulled their goalie, and then they ended up scoring 2 more on empty nets. So it made the game look very one-sided, and it wasn't. It was one goal on a bad draw call that happened. I'm very mad about the game.
Down with the refs, down with the NHL.
Because the game definitely... I'm not usually one to like rag on the refs, but that game definitely did feel more one-sided. Like there was a lot going to make sure that the other team made it to the finals there.
Well, that has been a sore spot for you from the very beginning with that team. So.
Yeah. So anyways,
so hockey's over.
So the reason why I bring hockey into
we needed something to soothe our soul.
We were like, I was like mad. So I was like, what can we watch that's gonna like change this mood? Like, and Kiddo was a bit in bed, so we couldn't watch Thundercats.
Yeah.
So realized what day it was, and Amazon Prime, The Boys is back. And I was like, you know what?
This seems like appropriate. It's angry and not hockey related.
Foul. It's funny. There's violence. And instantly when I turned on Amazon Prime and it had it up there banner, it said 2 times the blood. And I was like, Eddie, let's do this. So The Boys is back, and it's
just as foul, if not more.
Friggin' fabulous.
Uh-huh.
They have really done a great job with this show. Where I think Preacher kind of jumped the shark a bit.
Very much so.
And got really more long in the tooth. This definitely feels a lot more focused in the story that they're telling.
And it makes you want to watch and like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? What's happening now?
Right. Usually I'm a big supporter of if they like will draw seasons out, especially on thing, because we usually aren't on top of shows that quick. But this was one of those times where 3 episodes on the draw release date was not enough.
No, I'm like super sad that we can't watch more.
We watched them, and then it was literally like there is no more until Friday.
Yeah.
And it's going to drop 1 episode a week.
Okay, so it's going to be weekly now.
It's weekly, and then the season finale is 2 episodes, and that's like October 8th or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So like it's not going to be that long. It's only like 10 episodes or something like that. But it's
Well, when was the last time we've had like long
Mandalorian?
Weeks? I know, right? So. Yeah.
But so the story of The Boys, of course, is the fact that the superheroes are real, and they pretty much do whatever they want. And they
are corporately owned.
Yeah, they're corporately owned by Vought.
Yeah.
And the last season was basically Billy Butcher. He creates a team because A-Train runs through this guy named Huey's girlfriend, Kablooey, blood, guts, gore. And they're trying to take down.
There's no consequences for them because
they just say that they're sorry,
do whatever they want,
and they lie. Like it was basically like, I was chasing a perp down, but he was actually on a drug.
Yeah,
as he ran through her, so there's no consequences for any of their actions.
Yeah.
So season 2 starts, of course, where Homelander, basically Superman.
Homelander is scary.
He has found out that he has a son, and he is gone off to visit the woman that he raped.
Yeah.
To get this son, basically, and try to.
She's
reconnect.
supposed to be in protective custody from him.
And Butcher, it's Billy Butcher's wife, and he thinks she's dead.
Yeah. So he has just found out now that she's alive, and
Homelander made sure to show him, and then knock him out and drop him off in a parking lot somewhere.
So he doesn't know where she is.
Yeah.
And so he's definitely gone a little crazy with that information.
Right.
And their whole group is fugitives.
Yeah, they're on the run from what they had done in the past.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to take things down. And they're just...
Well, now they're working on trying to expose Vought Industries for the creation of the superheroes, and so now in the background you have the superheroes wanting to be part of the military, and the idea that they're creating those situations to manipulate people's view on them to see that they're needed.
Yeah. So Vought had always put they call it V. It was all in secret with creating the supers, and they weren't creating villains that we're aware of.
Yeah.
And Homelander got it and sent it out there so that he could have supervillains.
Yes.
To get into the military.
So he's created them. And
super terrorists.
Nope, super villains.
Right?
And yeah, Homelander is interesting because he has the potential to be so much good, like Superman, but because he's a complete man-child.
And he was raised in a lab.
Yeah, he has no human connection at all, right? So he's, think about Superman without his parents. He's just this overpowered alien who has no connection to the beings that he's supposed to be protecting.
Yeah.
And he has no consequences for anything. He's always been able to do what he wants or just take something. And he's very emotionally stunted and obsessed with his previous handler, and just it's really disturbing.
Gets under your skin.
Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah. Right? And so it's interesting because he's definitely scary because you don't quite know how he's going to react, so it's proving interesting because now the new development with Stormfront.
She showed her true colors in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see where this goes because I went from like, okay, she's interesting, like I like this, to like, oh shit, this is terrifying. Right. So I'm really curious to see where that leads, and that's why it was just like, oh my god, where is episode 4?
Right. And an interesting thing too, I noticed it more, and you pointed it out because I was thinking it just as you were saying it, but Carl Urban is playing Butcher a little bit more like Jack Sparrow in this season.
Yes,
and it's like if they decided to make Jack Sparrow R-rated. That's what it looks like on screen. The way he wobbles and moves and the way he says it. Like, imagine if Jack Sparrow said the F-bomb 17 times and dropped the C word a few times in those movies. Like,
you know what? That's what they just need to do. Reinvigorate Pirates of the Caribbean with full R-rated like intensity.
Only if they get Carl Urban to do it. How's that sound?
Carl Urban could be the R-rated Jack Sparrow for things, Right? Like, this is the real pirates.
Right?
The real Pirates of the Caribbean.
So I think at one point he does say savvy too, right?
Yeah.
His hands are out.
Yeah, he does. He totally is Jack Sparrow. Right. Like, repeatedly. That's all I see now.
But like, he's one of those characters that you love to hate.
Yeah, because you're like, wow, you're such a douchebag to Huey. But then he turns around and does something nice, and you're like, oh, I can't. But I understand because you totally got screwed. I mean, this person that the entire world thinks is an amazing superhero raped your wife, and then she disappeared.
And then you think she's dead.
And your whole world just got imploded, and everyone's telling you that you're crazy for it. So yeah, I can understand why you're angry with the world. And yeah, and so, but he's just so harsh, and it's interesting to see how everything is, all the effects and how everything is just intermingling with everything, right?
It's a really fantastic show, and I like it. It's one of those ones where like I'm really into it, and I can't wait for the next episode.
My sister finally got Amazon Prime, and she's like, it's like her first thing on her list, and I was like, oh my god, thank God, someone
watch it.
Like, watch this now. Yeah,
because it's a really good show for sure. Because I'm curious of where they're gonna go with it. NECA got the 7-inch license. Funko already showed some of their product coming out. But I'm really curious to see what NECA is going to do. I won't lie, I probably would want to get a Butcher. Because at the same time... Because it's Carl Urban. Get a Carl Urban toy that you can have beating up all the soups and all that.
Understandable.
Right? But I don't know what else to say without really spoiling it, because it is pretty new.
We can't spoil it for sure, but...
there is a scene with the Deep, which he's basically Aquaman, and with I'll just say Pinocchio. Wow. That was bloody and was kind of unexpected. Even though I'd seen some of that stuff already in like teasers, seeing it in the show... That was
mortifying.
Was just...
I was just like, oh God.
Right?
This is so horrible.
Like, poor Huey. I'm just gonna stay here. You're gonna what?
Yeah. I'm out. I'm just gonna die here.
What about Huey? Pinocchio's staying inside. Like,
now you want to go watch it if you haven't already.
So highly recommend it because it is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think it's what you kind of need sometimes. Sometimes you need a little bit foul. And I think that by putting it on Amazon has allowed Seth Rogen and the team and all that, Eric Kripke, to kind of do whatever they want.
What is your theory on the fact that Jensen Ackles is going to be Soldier Boy?
Oh, so yeah, because Jensen Ackles is playing Soldier Boy in season 3, so you got some time before he shows up. Reason why he's showing up too is because Eric Kripke wrote Supernatural, created Supernatural originally, so Ackles came over. Jim Beaver was in an episode.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a few Supernatural alumni showing up. But because Ackles originally had read for Captain America way back when. So he's going to get to play a version of Captain America. It's not going to be the one that we, necessarily want.
But it's the one you need.
Right? It's the one we deserve, apparently. So yeah, he's going to get to actually play Captain America, which I think is kind of cool that they thought of him for that and said, hey, you know what? We're going to have you play this character. So with the comic, Soldier Boy has had multiple incarnations. I'm assuming they're going to just go with the full Captain America because they mentioned the idea of Soldier Boy being back during the, so are we going to get the super polite, doesn't swear,
It'd be curious because, you had said that Kripke was quoted saying, this is not going to be Dean.
Yeah, he made sure to say that. You're not going to get to...
So Dean is so much more crass and he's not intense and angry though.
Yeah.
So at the same, he's not evil. So is he going to be super evil and scary, or is he going to be super clean cut where it's like, whoa, this is weird to hear him being so nice and polite.
Right.
So I'm wondering if he's going to be more of that.
Because it'll be interesting to see, because they are cutting their own path with this. It's basically like the alternate version of the boys. Because Stormfront is a male in the comics, right? Even the handler from the first season wasn't. So there it is its own thing. It doesn't follow the comics exactly. So we'll be curious to see what that where that goes with that. But Kripke said he made sure to come out and be like, if you're coming from Supernatural to watch Ackles, this isn't going to be, we're getting to see him do something different, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That he's getting to come in more in a supporting role.
Yeah.
Into a show to show off his own, a different side of him.
Yeah, because he's been Dean for so long.
15 years. Versus, Paladecki that is taking on the Walker Texas Ranger starring role, which is so much more weight on you versus coming into being your own thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like a smaller role. So, and then being able to be R-rated, I'm hoping he'll have some fun then too.
Yeah.
Right? So.
You can't go wrong. I mean, the whole concept of this is they just keep up their style of stuff. It's going to be good.
Right.
So.
And Kripke's set for season 3 showrunner as well.
Excellent.
So, which is nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So definitely go watch The Boys and Thundercats. I mean, it's the Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Thundercats. We don't even know what we're doing for next week.
We don't, because the world's changing. School's starting, and more Thundercats most likely. Let's just be honest.
You want to do some adventures. Hey, fall's hitting. We got to start watching horror movies.
Oh yeah, we got to start now.
You want to do a Mummy marathon?
Well, me and Kiddo are reading Rick Riordan's Kane Chronicles, and so then there's been some all this Egyptian stuff in there. So just that idea that we don't have anything else Egyptian mythology to be able to watch.
So we watch The Mummy.
Mamra. I know, right? See, I mean, we're good enough right there. And which, I mean, the book itself is so its own thing. I mean, there's super magic and everything. But there was a couple of names in there that just reminded me. Imhotep was in that and everything. So I was like, oh, it's like The Mummy. He's like, what? I was like, oh yeah, you've never seen that. So that, the other thing was National Treasure and stuff like that. But knowing Kiddo, he's just going to say Thundercats. So we'll see. But there'll be another Boys episode. And go from there.
There'll be something.
See about movies.
Something. It's supposed to be cooler this weekend. So we'll do something for you. But yeah, so thank you for listening and stay rad, dudes.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!